Back again for game number 2. We got Kami House versus Regenerator X. And sending them the all clear. And looking at these two teams here, couple starts for Kami House. Deciding to go with Garlic Jr. here, a pretty classic, but there goes the Toxic Orb, which is one of his primary objects, allowing him to heal. He poisons himself, and his ability allows him to heal periodically, but also knocking off the Assault Vest from the Tornadus T. But Tornadus T deciding to kick off a U-turn and get another Pokemon in to get a little bit of momentum back, but a U-turn was also coming from the Gliscor, and that will allow him to do the same, deciding to swap to Heatran. And Guy over there, aka Tangrowth, could be built a couple different ways. You can build him with Assault Vest and have him be pretty specially defensive because he has Regenerator. And yeah, swapping over to the Blissey, which is the perfect special wall to fight the Heatran. Heatran doesn't have a lot of great, moves that would allow him to maybe swap to physical, but a Thunder Wave and then a burn going into the Blissey. I don't like that trade. I don't think he'll make that in the future, if I had to guess. Maybe trying to swap to the Gliscor in the future to eat that Thunder Wave, but now at this point, you got to go ahead and get your Heatran out, because I don't think you can really do much here. The burn will go away pretty quickly, and I think Regenerator X will probably have some sort of heal. Yeah, there's the soft boiled. So I think Kami House is going to get this Heatran out of here real quick. And maybe get back to the Gliscor or over to the Lopunny. I mean, he's operated with some of these big special walls before, and I don't really know what he's trying to get here with the Chaozu. I mean, Blissey is exactly what you want here for eating the special wall or the special attack. So swapping over to Clefable, and depending on what Clefable has, he's not going to be very affected by particular moves like entry hazards, paralysis, burns, toxic. So pretty good swap in there. But again, it doesn't have has knockoff on it. Very interesting, but it is the Mega Evolution for Regenerator X is this Mega Sizor, so the knockoff there is not going to actually get the damage bonus, nor will it or be able to kick off an item. So swapping to the Ferrothorn, which is a pretty good swap there. You're going to get the Iron Barb proc. Let's see if he doesn't have the Rocky Helm. He's running leftovers. And superpowers big damage into him, but with the Iron Barbs, I wonder now that he has the attack drop, there's the leftover proc. I wonder if the superpower won't kill here. He'll probably, I wonder if he'll play it safe and go with a Roost here, just to try and preserve the Sizor's HP, because you don't want to necessarily run into something or run into the Iron Barbs again, but deciding to swap to the Latias, which gets crushed by the U-turn there. And I don't know if that was the best swap, but it'll get him a little bit of momentum back because the Latias is quite fast, so hopefully he can just get the recover off immediately. But Tornadus T is also pretty fast, so swapping over to the Gliscor, the knockoff, well, he already knocked off the item from this Gliscor, so not going to do much damage. Presses U-turn again, and, we could see Kami House do the same thing and also press U-turn. No, decides to go ahead and press Roost and heal up. So, interesting. So, Kami House had the Toxic Orb, and he's carrying Roost. So, not very common that you see the Roost and the Toxic poison heal build, but clearly paying off. And the Clefable in this spot is actually exactly what you want here, because the Leech Seed won't be able to actually deal damage against it. The paralysis is working though. Magic Guard doesn't block that, and Gliscor coming back out here. Maybe he's trying to press Earthquake, because knockoff won't do much. And no, just coming out, pressing U-turn, um, and maybe he'll swap. The problem is his Heat Ran was taking a beating earlier during that Blissey, and that was really his best answer to this Mega Sizor. So yeah, going over to the Heat Ran, and here it is. But yeah, just another U-turn from the Mega Sizor, allowing him to get over to a counter in the Volcanion. Now the Chaozu is already paralyzed, so Volcanion, although it's very slow, it can probably outspeed a paralyzed Heatran. Yeah, and there's Steam Eruption. That's just going to murder the Heatran here. Most of the Pokemon are going to be faster than it, Latias being one of them. But Volcanion does have a little bit of natural bulk, so we'll see what the Latias goes for here. I'd like to see maybe going for the Draco Meteor, so seems to have some offensive investment here, or just a big Dragon Stab move, which could be very good for certain things. However, not against Blissey. So there's the swap back to Clefable, and it'll stop some of the other types of things. It has the protection on the status effect, I guess, with the paralysis, but the knockoff, showing the move pool diversity, but Regenerator X has been pretty quick to swap back to the Sizor whenever he sends out the Clefable, because Clefable just gets really demolished by Steel typing. And yeah, you can see he immediately went to the Bullet Punch to try and catch that Clefable, but not going to be good enough against a Gliscor. So yeah, swapping over to the Tornadus T again, and the Stab Earthquake not going to work against the flying Pokemon. So pretty good swap there. I think he's been waiting for that swap, and yeah, the Hurricane is kind of a risky play there. So not sure why he's carrying that move. I mean, obviously it's big damage, but pretty low accuracy. But there's the U-turn. He's getting a little bit of progress there, but going with a slightly riskier Pokemon here, and presses Fake Out. That's gonna get the free turn there. Tornadus T is not going to be faster, though. The Lopunny just showing the power, and it's just like, I don't care about your typing advantage. I'm just going to outspeed you and kill you with Stab, High Jump Kick. And choosing to go over to the Tangrowth, so that kind of tells me that this Tangrowth is probably physically defensive. And a wise swap over to the Ferrothorn. The knockoff will get rid of the leftovers, which is pretty annoying. But he lands a Toxic onto the Tangrowth, which is also not a huge deal, because you want to be in and out with the Tangrowth anyways. But it is kind of puts a limitation on how long you can kind of stick around and set up with him before you're forced to swap out for the Regenerator. Yeah, and swapping over to the Sizor here. Pressing Gyro Ball does a decent chunk of damage, so this is kind of the turn where, yeah, he's gonna just take the reset by killing the Ferrothorn, and I think that's a fair move. I think here you're probably gonna see him go to the Lopunny. That would probably be my choice, because Regenerator X doesn't have a great swap in. I mean, the Tangrowth may be physically defensive, but no, choosing to go with the Latias. So the Latias could have Hidden Power Fire here as a backup plan against this Sizor. And yeah, showing that he just has the priority Bullet Punch. Yeah, this is why I wanted to see him go to the Lopunny. You could get the Fake Out, which you always take Fake Out if you can. But you can also just get a High Jump Kick. And I think even... Yeah, he has Rocky Helmet on this thing, but I think that even a big Stab High Jump Kick here could just kill this Tangrowth flat out. And no, choosing to go with the Fire Punch and a little bit riskier. I think I would have liked to see the high jump kick there. But we'll see what he presses here. I think he wants to keep it in, but I want to see him press the high jump kick. And there's Blissey. Let's see what he does. Presses Drain Punch, and that's huge into the Blissey. Big damage, and that is something that Kami House needed to come back in this game. So Flygon is a common Pokemon to be using Scarf. So let's see if he's using Scarf. The Dragon Ground typing is gonna. Oh yeah, there's an Earthquake. So if he's choiced of any type of a Scarf or a Band, he's gonna have to swap immediately. Yeah, there's the immediate swap. Let's see if he goes for the Stab Earthquake. And no, there's the knockoff. I think the Stab Earthquake probably would have taken the Scizor there. And a Bullet Punch. Let's see if he goes for the kill. He does, and Regenerator X just letting the Mega Scizor die. Interesting choice there. He had a turn there to press Roost. So not really sure if he just doesn't have Roost on that Mega Scizor build, but I'm usually a fan of the Roost on him because he's pretty tanky. So here's the swap to Volcanion, and these Pokemon are both pretty slow. We're gonna see who's faster and what move Kami House wants to press on him, because if he doesn't press a move that kills, that Steam Eruption will just kill your Gliscor here. But I think if you're faster with the Gliscor, then in that case you want to get the damage on him, maybe a knockoff, but deciding to swap to Clefable probably just to die. But no, the Clefable survives. Remember though, it's still paralyzed, so it's going to have to take another attack and just die. And now, yeah, you get the reset for the Lopunny. And again, I'm just pressing high jump kick here. Like, yeah, so here comes Tangrowth. He gets hit by the rocks, and there's Fake Out. Yeah, I mean, I get why you press Fake Out there, but you're faster than most of these things except for, yeah, and there it just kills him. That's what I'm saying. Like, you just press the high jump kick there, secure the kill. Here comes the Flygon, and this is the same thing. So let's see if Regenerator X presses a different move besides Earthquake. He presses Outrage, and yeah, decides to go with a different move there. Presses the Outrage, and he's now locked into it. So we will see a reset, and I bet you that, again, this Flygon is scarfed. He does not get confused on 2 rounds of it. So this will break him out of the outrage. No, plus the confusion because it was the 3rd round. That is incredibly huge. If this Flygon is scarfed, hits himself on confusion, that will give the Lopunny a chance to actually kill this thing. Is Regenerator X just going to swap? No, he leaves it in and he hits it. There's the high jump kick. It takes the Flygon down. Oh my god, here comes the Volcanion. Takes huge damage from the rocks. It's slow. Will he hit with it? He hits with it. And Kami House takes the first game. Unbelievable comeback. Mega Lopunny just stole the game. Great heads-up play by Kami House to make the swap over to the Gliscor to preserve the Lopunny. Amazing. Oh, yes, and here we go. You got to imagine that Regenerator X is going to be just itching to get payback here because Kami House stole that right out from under him. I think that there were a few cases where Regenerator X let the reset happen, and maybe he shouldn't have. Maybe he should have swapped again, but that was a great first game. And going to game 2, we've got Mr. Popo versus Bra, and on the last matchup here, we saw knockoff. Probably going to see the exact same thing here. There's a knockoff kicking the leftovers away. Oh no, deciding to go for the Toxic. And if the Blissey is not packing Heal Bell, which it may not be, we saw Seismic Toss, and it has Natural Cure, but typically if you're running Blissey, you just run it. So there's the Stealth Rock, and he had the Superpower, which is pretty cool. That's just kind of random with the, Genies can just have that. And did some pretty good damage into the Steel-type Pokemon. The U-turn is going to allow him to get a little momentum back. Gyro Ball not going to be great into the super slow Volcanion. And Volcanion has the move diversity to be able to take on this Ferrothorn easily. So swapping over to the Latias, perfect Pokemon to take the Flamethrower. And Regenerator X could just do the same thing, swap back to the Blissey here. But Goku Black, we saw him using Latias with Draco Meteor. Let's see if he has Psyshock, because that's really good against Blissey. No, misses for a second time with Draco Meteor, and that's just really rough luck. Depending on what his Latias is built, he could have it choiced, in which case he's going to have to swap immediately. And yeah, he just chooses to go ahead and swap. And this time, he got him with the Gliscor, exactly like I was saying. And boom, lands the Toxic. Now he's set up his Poison Heal. And I bet you Regenerator is just really going to be trying to get a knockoff onto that Gliscor. And here comes the Scizor. Let's see if he pressed Earthquake, and he did for the big damage. That's huge. And now I think you want to protect your Poison Orb, because Toxic could just, again, end up hurting yourself. No, does have the Roost on the Scizor. So interesting. Chose not to Roost in the previous game when you have the Bug typing to help insulate against the Earthquake. So choosing to Roost this time, and I like the choice. But the Gliscor able to U-turn out of here and swapping over to the Chaozu, and this is the matchup that Kami House wanted in Game 1. So, yeah, there's the Blissey. Will he double swap to the Fighter? No, he will press Magma Storm like he did in the first game. And, the Magma Storm is not really good against a Blissey that is packing soft boiled. So presses Thunder Wave and just crippling against Heatran. I mean, this is what Regenerator X did in the last game. I think you got to go ahead and take the advantage here and swap to your Lopunny. You're not doing anything else with this. Misses with the Magma Storm. Like you gotta get some advantage. Like Blissey is a super special wall, and I think that might be what Kami House is missing here. That this Pokemon is just too strong. I mean, maybe he just says, "I'm willing to let him die," but I don't understand that. You need the Chaozu to fight the Scizor in a perfect world. Like the Scizor has very few ways to interact with Heatran. So there's the swap over to the Seismic Toss, or to the Gliscor. I like it. Poison Heal, healing for 13%, almost double that of what a Leftovers would heal for. And swapping to the Tornadus here. Let's see what he pressed. Press the knockoff. Huge there. Great prediction. The Poison Heal healing, and now he's going to get to swap it out into a Pokemon with a Mega Stone. No, deciding to leave it in. Pretty heads-up play, to be honest. I probably would have swapped it out myself, because I really don't want my Gliscor to get knocked off, because then you start taking the damage. But no, he left it in and also pressed U-turn. So right here, you could go to your Chaozu, but no, deciding to go to Latias. Interesting. So we'll see again if he has Hidden Power Fire on this Latias. I don't think we've seen anything like that out of it. So he just, there is Hidden Power, so he might have Hidden Power Fire there on the Latias, and showing Life Orb as well. We hadn't actually seen him hit with any of the Draco Meteors, so we didn't know what item the Latias was on, if it was choiced or what. And carrying a Life Orb is pretty good, and there's the double swap into the Flygon, but the Gliscor is great against the Flygon, but the emergency defog on the Flygon. Yeah, there kicks off the Choice Scarf. And that's kind of what I expected, was this Flygon was on a Scarf and had... It's funny when you see the emergency defog, and he did choose to do that. So the U-turn will be put in place here, getting the Gliscor out of here, probably swapping over to the Chaozu. You don't want to go Hidden Power Fire into Tangrowth. It's just not good enough. So I'd like to see him swap over to Chaozu here just for the pivot. And your Chaozu's paralyzed, but no, deciding to swap over to the Ferrothorn. and the Ferrothorn isn't going to have, much of a way to heal itself here, but maybe he just wants to press Stealth Rock. And yeah, so there's the Stealth Rock. We don't want to see him leave the Ferrothorn out again against this Volcanion. Usually it's Latias who can fight that thing, so I think we might see another swap to the Latias, but the Latias seems to be built as a more offensive build, so we'll see how well he can tank it. And might be a hidden power ice there, but like I said, if it's not 4 times effective, like it's just not that big of a deal. Yeah, so the recover is going to out heal this hidden power ice. So he's going to build some time back, and will we see the recover again? No, he presses Draco Meteor and misses for a third time. I guarantee you he is not putting that move on his Latias again. And got him with the swap into the ground Pokemon twice in a row now with the Gliscor. Really nice heads up plays by Kami House, and Regenerator X isn't going to do that again, I guarantee you. So there's an Earthquake. It won't touch him, so he won't get damaged. Poison Heal kicking him back up to full health. And here you got to go to your Chaozu. Like, trust your Chaozu. I mean, I guess you're worried maybe about Leech Seed here, but I mean, I don't know what else you're doing. I guess maybe he wants to press knockoff, and yeah, presses the knockoff and kicks off the Rocky Helmet. He's just tired of that thing, and a Leech Seed will heal him up a bit, but Poison Heal will out heal the Leech Seed. So maybe we will see just a hard swap here off the Gliscor now. Yeah, there's the swap over to the Clefable. And Clefable is pretty great in this situation because, one, he can have Flamethrower, which he might. And, oh, there's the Heal Bell coming from the Clefable. And that, oh, Sleep Powder from the Tangrowth going into the toolbox. And that is one status effect that you can do to Clefable with a Magic Guard. So that's kind of tough here as the Heal Beller. That probably means that we don't have Heal Bell on Latias, which is okay. You usually don't need 2 copies. And here, again, he's deciding to leave the Clefable out in the sleep, but no hard swaps. We know the defog's coming. He is no longer locked underneath the Choice Scarf, so he will be able to press something. And the Toxic Orb was cleansed because of the Heal Bell from the Clefable, so he had to re-poison himself. Great move there to do it right there, get him poisoned. He's going to get a heal proc, going to take him near to full, and he already got the big damage on the knockoff here, so yeah, pressing Earthquake. Um, and he'll probably just swap again. I don't think you want to lose your poison toxic orb here. Um, but no, pressing the U-turn, and yeah, he does the damage, I guess, on the knockoff isn't enough for him to want to just press it. I guess he wants to swap maybe over to the Volcanion, get a little bit of time back here, but you can't really swap to the Sizor. No, going back to the Tangrowth, he already knocked it off, so not a whole lot of damage there, but no damage back on the Rocky Helmet, so no big deal. And yeah, correct. Yeah, just the toxic here. He got it repoisoned, so yeah, he doesn't have to worry about the knockoff. If he heal bells again, though, he will have to keep that. So I think you still want to avoid knockoff. And yeah, he kicks it off there. Ooh, the Life Orb is a pretty critical item on the Clefable, especially with Magic Orb or Magic Guard. You don't take the damage, but you still do a lot back. And switching over to the Volcanion is a Pokemon that can do a lot of damage on a sleeping Pokemon. Yeah, there's 39%. It's going to be more than enough to kill the Clefable if he can hit with it again, and he does. Kills the Clefable. That Sleep Powder was just critical at taking down that Clefable there. Now swapping over to the Latias. There's the Blissey. The Draco Meteor hits for the first time, and maybe that'll make Kami House realize that even with Stab Draco Meteor, like, Blissey is just so good at taking special attacks. Like, it's just not worth it. So, oh my goodness, got him for the third time with the Thunder Wave swap in. And that's what you want if you're Kami House. So again, usually this Pokemon only has two attacking moves, sometimes only one, especially if you're running Roost. But he's running the Roost double attack build, and maybe you know since he doesn't have Toxic on that last move, he has U-turn. Um, that's kind of the rub. Is yeah, you get U-turn, but you don't have kind of a way to force out some of those wall break or those big walls. But you know, it would only really be important against, like, in this case, Tangrowth. Um, Not as much Blissey with the natural cure, as well as obviously Heal Bell. So there's the burn. You got to get off your Heatran here. Do not let it get paralyzed again. You already cleansed it once. No, he presses Magma Storm. Like, this is a mistake. The soft boil just totally out heals it. That was your turn to get your Mega in, so you could press a fighting move into this Blissey. Like, you gotta think about getting out in front of these things, especially, yeah, like you're doing nothing into this thing. You gotta get your Heatran out of here. Yeah, I'm sure it sounds like I'm a broken record here. So on this turn, this is where you would want to swap over to your Lopunny. Nope, not going to swap. Presses the Will-O-Wisp again. I'm not sure what Kami House is trying to do here. I mean, maybe he's seen the seismic toss, so he knows that this Blissey can actually start dealing damage. Yeah, and there's the 30%. And a single paralysis just completely set you back. So, I mean, I guess you are forcing him to have to press soft boiled, but you don't want to be in this type of game with a Pokemon that has some of the best healing moves in the game, like soft boiled. So presses Magma Storm again. We'll see 15% plus 6, minus like 13, down to 79%, and finally swapping over to the Ferrothorn. But even the Ferrothorn is not really what you want here. I mean, I guess you may be fast.
Someone's in the tank. Can y'all hear Mickey? Okay. Mickey, your mic.
Yeah, and we are back. Sorry about that. My headphones died, and here we are. The U-turn coming out of the Gliscor just kind of shows you how powerful that Gliscor is with the Toxic Orb. I mean, that thing has taken a lot of damage and just healed right back up. Really, really impressive showing from the Gliscor, able to take a lot of those Thunder Waves. And you see a crit from the Magma Storm, only doing 13% into the Water Fire Pokemon in Volcanion. But Heatran doesn't have a lot of great matchups here, but oh god, just gets crushed by Steam Eruption. And there goes Chaozu. That's going to open it up for Mega Scizor. And finally, you put your Mega Lopunny in here. And I want to see high jump kick. Let's see if he presses the fake out at all. No, he just presses high jump kick. Good. And remember, the Tangrowth here doesn't have the Rocky helmet anymore. It's been knocked off about 10 times. So here comes the high jump kick. I mean, that's what I would do. No, deciding to swap to the Gliscor, missing with the Sleep Powder, and pressing U-turn again. And if he goes over to Ferrothorn, the grass Pokemon will be immune to the sleep powder. And presses Giga Drain. Oh, crits. Big crit. And that is just really unfortunate. The fake out there is going to be really good. If he can maybe get a crit here on the high jump kick, that would be a big turnaround, but I don't know if it's going to be enough because now you're at 50% and Drain Punch won't heal you for much. There's 17%. Giga Drain healing him back up to 44. I don't know if these trades are good if you're low punny here. I think this is what you want if you're Regenerator. There's the Drain Punch healing with the Giga Drain, 37%. So he's going to have to go for the high jump kick right here. I don't think it's going to be enough, but I think you have to go for it. And, what will be, because you don't have enough to... And he takes it down with the high jump kick. Massive there with the high jump kick. But Mega Sizor has the bullet punch. Let's see if Kami House is on top of that, because that is what you really got to be afraid of here. You've got to swap out your low punny. If there is a time when the Blissey is out, or the Volcanion, or even the bird, if depending on the HP, on a full reset, an 11% low punny can still do something. So I do think you want to swap over here to the Gliscor and take this bullet punch. You don't have Heatran, which is okay against the Sizor if you can maintain the Latias. We've seen him press Hidden Power Fire with the Latias, and yeah, there's the bullet punch. Big crit, but it doesn't matter with the poison heal. He's going to heal back up from this. It's not going to be a problem. No more heal bell to get rid of the toxic. So he has secured his poison heal here with the toxic on him. Doesn't necessarily have to be afraid of knockoff in that way, but here comes Flygon. There's knockoff. Probably a good decision to press knockoff with the two Pokemon with Levitate on the other side of the field. So U-turn. Here comes again. I guess he probably is going to go to Tornadus here. It's probably your safest bet. Maybe the Sizor we saw. Yeah, chooses to go with the Tornadus. It's already been knocked off. So, but the poison heal just ticking this Gliscor back up and back up. And a Stab Hurricane would actually, while normal effectiveness would be pretty good against Gliscor, but no, choosing to press U-turn. Probably going to want to try to make his way to Volcanion for the water attack into the ground Pokemon. There's the knockoff kicking the Assault Vest to the curb. And I wonder how many Assault Vests Regenerator X has on his team. And there's the Stab Earthquake. Gliscor is faster. And Gliscor just slowly taking down Regenerator X's team. The power of the Poison Heal Gliscor is just huge here. And let's see if Regenerator X gets a little greedy and starts pressing attacking moves instead of the Roost, because I think Random Wizard might try to get a swap here, but no, gets a crit on it, and he was pressing Roost. Oh man, that was a huge crit. There's the knockoff. It's not going to do anything into the Mega. Healing him back up, and I think Regenerator X is playing it correctly. He's not going to rush into it and be greedy. Take his time. He heals up his Pokemon, and Kami House is just kind of willing to leave the Gliscor out here, and I think he's going to regret it because he needs to take some of these advantages that he's building on himself, like when he got that big crit. I think he needs to take advantage of those things. And there's the knockoff, but again, it's not going to matter here anymore because we're not going to see any heal belling. Superpower taking him down to 1%. Iron Barbs. Leech Seed missing, which is really, really rough, but he did survive at 1%, which means that if he decides to get U-turn here or another physical move, he could hit him again with the Iron Barbs, but deciding to swap to the Gliscor, we've seen this before. There's the U-turn. He's probably going to hit to the Sizor here.
Now the problem with Sizor though is that he doesn't really have a way to threaten the Gliscor because the Gliscor also has Roost. So this is a really interesting back and forth here because you also look at the Pokemon available for Kami House left. Latias is the only special attacker, so the Blissey is not going to be that effective here. So here's knockoff, and you can just see the power of Poison Heal just healing this thing back up. We just saw a crit there out of the Bullet Punch, and it does good damage here, but a Roost is also strong, and there's another crit. So here we could see double Roost from both sides. Oh, and there is back-to-back crits! That is incredible! Oh my god! Unbelievable! That is backbreaking for Regenerator X! He has got to be just flipping the desk! Oh my god! And a Hurricane, like I thought, hits very hard into the Gliscor. He needs this RNG here. The confusion landing, and you got to pull your Gliscor here, maybe for the reset in the Ferrothorn. Yeah, so choosing to swap to the Ferrothorn. Hurricane able to hit multiple times in a row. The RNG flowing the pendulum. It is just going back towards Regenerator X here, and he is getting what he needs in these Hurricane procs. Got the confusion, got the hurt on confusion. 2 Hurricanes in a row, was able to take down a lot of damage on the Gliscor and then finish off the Ferrothorn. Kami House is now in the tank trying to figure out what to do. If he brings out the Latias, he's missed with 3 out of 4 Draco Meteors. He can't trust that move here. It is just too risky. The Lopunny, on the other hand, is just can be shot out like a cannon here, and choosing to go with the Lopunny. Maybe he's going to just take the chip here, thinking about it from the perspective of, well, I get a free chip here, I should take it. And let's see if that's what he does. He takes the fake out in a 3rd crit in a row. Oh my goodness. 3 crits in a row for Kami House. And the pendulum swings back, and he gets an RNG proc there. Let's see what he pressed. And he pressed the Hurricane and missed with the 3rd Hurricane. Poison Heal procking, and you bet Kami House is going to press Roost here. He missed. Oh, and he hits with the 3rd one. Those 3 out of 4 there. And here comes with more chip. Oh, and there's the swap to the Flygon. Fake out. I can't even remember if this Flygon still has a Choice Scarf on. We're going to find out real quickly. And no, not fast enough. Goes down to the Drain Punch. Healing up a little bit is the Bulma. Here comes the Tornadus T again. And this is just crazy because now you're really afraid of the Regenerator. So yeah, you got to swap to the Latias, who can take the fighting move. And there it is. So let's see. No, the Latias does not outspeed there, and we are down to the final 2. Let's see, he's got to press fake out here. And yeah, I mean, it's a free swap to the Blissey, totally. Like, I think this is a great play here by Regenerator X. You're going to get your full heal on Tornadus T. Like, yeah, Bulma's going to heal up a little bit, but all you need is a single Hurricane, and this thing is dead. So, 1 Hurricane. Let's see if he can take it to Game 3. That's all he's pressing. Jump Kick's not going to kill. Let's see if he hits. He presses Superpower, and it takes him down. Beautiful call there by Regenerator. We're going to Game number 3. Oh, my God. Incredible. Just great game so far, and we'll see who can secure it in Game 3. Whew. Pretty wild first couple games here. And going to the final game number 3 here. And let's see if it's the same too. No, Regenerator X choosing to go ahead and send out a Pokemon that's a little thicker who can press knockoff. But Kami House also at the same time swapping it up a little bit and deciding to press Toxic. I like it.
So here's the Gyro Ball. All of Regenerator X's Pokemon, except for Tornadus T and the Scarf Flygon, are quite slow. So Gyro Ball, not the best move. I think I would have liked to see Leech Seed on the Ferrothorn there. So he may have it too, but who knows. So there's the Toxic Orb landing. He gets the Toxic on him. So no more knockoff in that respect unless the Heal Bell comes through from the Clefable. And I think what we need to see here from Kami House is really leveraging Chaozu to take out Sizor early. Regenerator X has been pretty quick to swap him out when it's gotten to that scenario, but you know kind of what he's going to be swapping to now. So you've got the potential to see some really quick double swaps. And there's the swap to Blissey. Is going to take Draco Meteor like a champ. Life Orb hurting Latias on the way back. And, I mean, if you're the Blissey here, I think, there is the Toxic, so you want to get the Heal Bell out. And he presses Thunder Wave. Wow. I mean, Kami House has now gotten him at least 4 times on that swap in alone. And I think Regenerator X deciding not to press Heal Bell. Wow, so he really wanted to protect the Blissey's item there, I guess. And Knockoff could have just killed it there, I guess, too. So maybe a really heads-up swap there. But because he went for the Thunder Wave, he did not get the Heal Bell off. So a little bit of a high risk, high reward play there, but Kami House has shown in the first 2 games that he's been very quick to swap to the Gliscor in that exact scenario multiple times. So the U-turn coming in, Knockoff kicking away the leftovers, and now you're in big trouble if you're Chaozu. You cannot get Thunder Waved here. Are we going to see it again? So the Blissey is just the perfect special wall here to fight this thing. You really can't send out Clefable, Chaozu, or the Latias, so yeah. And there we see it again. For a 5th time in a row, the exact scenario, he got him again. So also not able to get the Toxic off of your Tangrowth. So even though you have Regenerator on Tangrowth, you're not really gaining any momentum here. And yeah, there's the swap back to the Blissey. I really want to see a double swap to the Lopunny. Like some of these plays are just at this point in game 3 are just super telegraphed. You've seen them do this exact same thing. And finally, Regenerator presses Heal Bell instead of Thunder Wave. Good lord. All right, so we're learning. So finally, there's the swap over to the Ferrothorn. And immediately to the Tangrowth. And if you're Kami House, I think in this case you just want to press the Stealth Rock. This is a good matchup for you, at least on the first turn. So here comes the Stealth Rock. The Sizor is already in Mega Form. This is a free turn for that Roost. So let's see if landing a Leech Seed. I like it. I like the Leech Seed. So he does have it. And with this scenario here, he's now got the Leech Seed. He has Iron Barbs. And yes, deciding to go ahead and just swap to the Flygon. And Gliscor is not going to be great after 1 knockoff. 1 knockoff is what you got into this Flygon. Flygon, though, is not a tanky mon, so he presses Defog. He's going to get a free knockoff into this thing. 28% damage. It's what we saw in the previous game. A 10% crit. Not very effective. Yeah, Flygon can be pretty strong in speed ties with super effective moves, but outside of that, it is not the most effective defogger once you lose or just in general, because it has to use choice moves, or choice items. Here comes Goku Black, the immediate swap to the Blissey. We've seen it over and over. It really makes me think that this Latias may just not have recover. So the Gliscor again, 6th time in a row. So, or I guess not in a row. He got it last time with the Heal Bell, but pressing it for the 6th time. And the knockoff, not going to do much into the Pokemon without an item.
And at this point, I mean, it's really just until someone either, thinks a couple turns ahead or someone makes a mistake is really where we're at here, because a lot of these Pokemon that we're looking at all have abilities to sustain. And when you build your teams with a lot of sustain on individual Mon, you really don't need to worry about certain types of overall mechanics like wishing or things like that. Just, your Mon are pretty self-sufficient here. We saw Drain Punch on the Lopunny, Toxic Orb on the Gliscor, Leech Seed on the Ferrothorn, maybe Recover on Latias, Leftovers on Chaozu, and then the Clefable can also heal. So a lot of healing there, and also for Regenerator X and the two regenerating Pokemon, Rooster and then a Soft-Boiled. So Gliscor here coming back out. The Flygon is unlocked, so it is slower, but it can freely press Defog in all its moves. Usually it's got, oh yeah, we saw it with Outrage, but it's not going to be great into the Gliscor. And Earthquake, just not very effective into the Grass Pokemon. The Tangrowth is physically defensive, and usually you see that with Pokemon rocking the Rocky Helm. U-turn again. Gliscor, he's not willing to go to the Lopunny yet, and just willing to play this game over and over again of just the back and forth of small chip. But several of these Mon on the side of Regenerator have just that, Regenerator. So it's not totally obvious, unless you know they all have Regenerator, that he's just fine playing this battle too. So there's the Flygon pressing Earthquake, and Gliscor eating another move as it's got flying typing as well. So there's the Toxic taking the Flygon below half. And is this like the little bit of lack that, or just a little bit of lack of focus here, I think, on the side of Regenerator X. Just leaving the Flygon out a little too long. A Toxic landed on it. It was put below 50% HP. And if you're Kami House, that's what you want, because if the Defogger goes away, then all of this switching on the Regenerators and the Blissey for the Special Wall, it'll start to take its toll with the Stealth Rocks. So really got to keep your focus up on every single turn. He left the Flygon out there to take a couple knockoffs and a Toxic, and you see what happens. So swapping over to Clefable to take the hidden power here. Not a whole lot of damage from that. The Steam Eruption on the Stab would probably be what we're going to see here. Maybe he was trying some sort of prediction there over from the Latios, or the Latias, excuse me. But there's the Moonblast finally hitting it and just immediately swapping out. But you got to remember, Kami, that he's not going to leave it out to take the damage twice. So, yeah, swapping to the Special Wall. There's the knockoff, kicking away the leftovers, and that's pretty big there. That will be massive, and you got to swap out here. You don't want to get...
Rip.
Yeah, that Thunder Wave is really bad when it comes down. So finally, a decent matchup here for the Chaozu, but no, just swaps back to the Blissey. Stab, or non-stab Earth Power. Not going to do much into the Special Wall. This is where you really need to get your Stealth Rocks back out. Heal Bell getting the Tangrowth free of the Toxic. And I want to see Kami House get back to the Ferrothorn here and get some Stealth Rocks back out, because that's what forces him to get to the Flygon, which you have been working down the damage on. But no, the Heal Bell did go out, so it cleansed the Flygon. That's who was Toxic.
But the Flygon doesn't have a way to heal. We haven't seen Wish from Regenerator. Yeah, so there's the powder into the grass Pokemon. Not going to work. Um, and here comes Stealth Rock. This is what we want to see. And even if he just swaps to the Flygon, you don't care. So no, swapping to the Tornadus. And we're going to see the flying type move. And wow, just showing how strong Ferrothorn is. This Tornadus probably is physically set up as a physical attacker because that should have done a lot more damage if he was a pure special. We've seen U-turn, obviously we've seen superpower, so not unlikely. And Flygon coming in, getting hit by the rocks, and hurting confusion here. Let's see if Regenerator X goes for the safe play and defog, or if he goes for the risky play. So no, presses defog. Let's see what Kami House does. Presses Leech Seed. I love it. So now he has the Leech Seed, so he can now press Stealth Rocks again. This is just great if you're Kami House. So, oh no, deciding to swap the Latias to the Latias here. I don't know if I would have done that. I think you had some momentum there. With the Leech Seed, you had a free turn. I mean, yeah, you were confused, but I think that it was okay there, and he just swaps right back to the Ferrothorn. So I guess he was just really afraid of that confusion. Missing with the Hurricane. There's the Leech Seed. Now, the Tornadus T has Regenerator, so we're seeing a Stealth Rock here. Now that you got that, I think you got to just press your Toxic, and this is that same rotation. Kami House slowly picking up. Well, he's definitely got the this part of the rotation down very well. And there's the Gyro Ball. Not going to do a whole lot, but the Toxic's going to start building up. And again, the Flygon, when he comes back in, I mean, he's going to take damage from the rocks and be in a rough spot. Oh, great Leech Seed there from the Ferrothorn. I love it. And just start. I mean, in this spot, you might be able to press the steel moves. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage. But no, deciding to swap to the Gliscor. Superpower, not going to do a whole lot. The Leech Seed will proc again, taking him below half. And even if you Roost here, you're still getting hit by an Earthquake and a Leech Seed. So, yeah, pressing Roost takes the Leech Seed, takes the Earthquake, is in the exact same spot. So let's see who flinches first. Will he pull the Mega Scizor? Or will Kami House swap? Nope. So here is the Tornadus. And oh, a big call by Kami House getting the U-turn. Now you get a free swap into this Tornadus, swapping over to the Ferrothorn. Now you can just press Leech Seed, and it's great. Yeah, there's the Leech Seed, taking him down to 28%. Misses again with the Hurricane. Well, he presses Toxic, just tossing it on here. And let's see if Regenerator X decides to pull it out or just let it go down. But this is a turning point if I've ever seen one in the match. He does decide to pull it out here. He has to get the Blissey in. And a huge crit on the Gyro Ball! That could spell the end for Regenerator X. He's not going to be able to Heal Bell it away. And the rocks do big damage into the Volcanion. Oh my god, this is exactly what Kami House needs. He is so close. He's on the home stretch, sending Regenerator X home 0-1. First week in the tournament. And here comes the hidden power. The Steam Eruption. There goes the RNG back in the way of Regenerator. Volcanion is super strong. Don't forget that. He can do massive damage. But the Tangrowth here doesn't have the Rocky Helmet anymore. So this Bulma is going to get free reign into it. But if you're Kami House, I think you just swap back to the Ferrothorn here. Don't risk your Bulma, yeah, swap right back to the Ferrothorn, and there's the quick swap to the Tornadus, hit by the rocks, hit by the Toxic, and yeah, misses with the Hurricane. Will he press Gyro Ball? No, he presses Leech Seed. Will it be enough? It is enough damage, and he takes down the Tornadus T. Kami House just slowly ticking down Regenerator X's Pokemon, swapping to the Latias for the good matchup. He pressed Flamethrower, which is even worse than the Steam Eruption. Random Wizard showing Regenerator X the swaps. Here it is. He has Recover on the Latias, exactly what he needed. Oh my goodness, does he? Oh, he decides to swap to the Gliscor, so maybe not the hidden Power Fire we thought it was. So, or maybe he thought it was the immediate swap, but oh, the big rock damage into Volcanion, and you're seeing why it was so critical that he get those rocks going. And yeah, just happy to swap back to the Latias here, because you can just press Recover. This Volcanion's dead. Press Recover, and you've got a full health. He'll be able to press another attacking move, but you're fine with it, because here you're going to be able to attack him and just kill him. There it is. And now down to 3 Pokemon for Regenerator X. One of those Pokemon, though, is Mega Scizor. Very resilient, very strong. So let's see how this goes. A free Roost here, but no. Deciding to press Bullet Punch instead. Interesting choice there. Going for the higher risk moves. Swapping over to the Flygon. He's, I guess, decided he's going to take care of the rocks now. Very late. He already lost so much from those rocks between the Tornadus and the Volcanion, and it was a rock plus the damage into the Blissey that killed it on the Gyro Ball. So yeah, really tough there. And here comes Ferrothorn. Kami House knows. Yeah, here comes Ferrothorn. He's gonna just press Stealth Rocks again, and we're gonna be right back to where we were. I mean, Kami House has got a pretty great setup here. There goes the Stealth Rock again. And Regenerator X just trying to get him to make a mistake. He's looking for a very small window of potential mistakes here from Kami House. That's how he needs to win. And the Leech Seed won't work into the fellow Grass Pokemon. The Toxic coming, but your Fire Pokemon are open for business here. You don't want to lose your Rocker until that Flygon is down. And he's going to have to get off this Tangrowth quite quickly, because the Toxic is going to start hitting hard. There's a crit on the Gyro Ball, and he will regenerate out back to 50%. No, deciding to leave it in. And a great prediction there, but it will die to the Toxic. And is this spelling the end for Regenerator X? Here comes the Mega Scizor. And Heatran has legitimately done nothing this entire game. He hasn't even been the Pokemon that Kami House has been killing the Scizor with, but just the threat of that Heatran sitting there has forced some weird play from Regenerator X, and you can see this Gliscor just happy to keep this up. And yeah, it looks like Regenerator X knows the writing is on the wall, and we are going to see Kami House take down Regenerator X. Incredible game.